What's going on, y'all? It is your boy King J, and we are here today for Artist Spotlight. We finna get into some things. Yeah. So on the docket today, we have Kaylin Harris. She is the founder of Kroir and Shop Kroir. Kroir is a luxury brand created to empower businesswomen to make a statement and break free from society's rules about a businesswoman and what that should be. Shop Kroir is a fashion brand that empowers young women through trend forward clothing and campus based pop up experiences. Through fashion design, styling, and creative direction, she's passionate about helping women express themselves and show up as their full selves. So, with all that being said, I want to take a second to welcome my good friend, Kaylin Harris. How you doing, Kaylin?
Hey, Justin. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. What it do? How you feeling today?
I feel good. It's a work from home day today, and
Mm,
I got to rest, so I feel rested,
okay.
motivated.
So again, we talked about before we got everything moving. How
Mhm.
crazy it is. Full circle things are going. Because about a year and a half ago, we were um in Madison in a car. I think it was like an Uber or something, talking about Kingdom and talking about all these plans that I had. I was coming to you for advice. For real, 'cause I'm like, okay, how are you doing and things on your side? Because this is a lot. And I was saying how I wanted to do this very podcast, Royal Voices. I wanted to bring people on and uplift people, and I told you, you're going to be in the mix of that. And to have you on episode 2, I am just so excited to have you here. Um, and really just want to shout out that full circle experience. This is crazy to me.
I know it really is, and I'm proud of you again. I know I said that, but I'm proud of you because like this is a journey. It's a journey, and you're here whether you're at the beginning, the middle, doesn't matter. You're here, and that's all that matters. I'm proud of you. This is good and professional.
Thank you. You listen, that's the part we're trying to have too, because I be doing my one too. I be with some goofy shit sometimes, but I be wanting to make sure that professional quality is there, but still authentic.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
So with all that being said, let's jump right into the nitty gritty. So real quick, I mentioned it a little bit in your bio, but in your own words, your own perspective, what is Kroir? What is Shop Kroir? And how did you get involved in starting this business endeavor?
So Kroir is like my child almost. I'm just gonna put that out there. It is my child because it's constantly growing and developing, pivoting, moving, disappointing me at times. But it is a brand that I created just off of making my dream come true. I've been designing since I was I don't know how old, in middle school, and I've always wanted to be a fashion designer. And Kroir is just my way of making that dream come true, while at the same time wanting to create something fun and real for other women that are like me. I didn't just create a brand that I think the audience is going to enjoy. I am creating a brand that I enjoy, or that I want to enjoy in my
Mm.
current state, wherever that is in life. Shopcore or SK is somewhat of like my version of a spin-off, I guess you can say, in a sense. TV shows have spin-offs all the time. I think we have spin-offs in life as well. And I got to a point where I just felt like I was hitting a wall, and I wanted to somewhat pivot and serve a different market without creating a separate brand. And so I pivoted, and this was the pivot. It's more of a lifestyle brand. It speaks to my younger self. It speaks to people like my younger sister, and her friends, and yeah, it serves them, a lifestyle brand for college students, but not just any college student. HBCU college students
Okay.
specifically.
Talk about
But I
it.
wanted to serve that market because that's me. That's who I was. That's where I grew. And that's where my sister has grown. And yeah, I wanted to create something for that version of myself. And I mean, I don't know. I think that it's constantly changing. So maybe tomorrow I would have a different response, but that's what it is today.
Oh, I love that. You touched on a few things. I think, especially in the beginning of it, as far as you said, sometimes discouraging or sometimes disappointing. The
Hmm.
thing that you love so much, the baby you created that you love so much. So that kind of goes into my second question, which is starting, a fashion brand is by any means not easy, especially in the world we in today with so much access to stuff, especially fashion and people learning into and music and all that. When you have so much oversaturation in this space, um, what are some lessons that you feel you have learned along the way that you carry within your creative space, but also in your business endeavors as a business owner?
I think the first thing is to enjoy the journey because this is a journey. Like for most people, it's not you're not just going to wake up and what you imagine is reality. Um, you gotta work towards it. You gotta learn in some seasons. You gotta fail in some seasons. You gotta start over in some seasons. And so I think just enjoying the journey. That's number one. The second thing is fashion in particular is oversaturated. The market industry, the fashion industry is, I mean, it's getting kicked down right now. In particular, speaking to this current time, so it's constantly changing, and I mean, you really have to be in it for a purpose. Because a lot of people are doing it because they have an audience, or a lot of people are doing it just because it was a thought and it's something that they wanted to do. But there are some people in particular that this has always been their dream, and a good amount of them are not successful,
Mm.
or they're never seen for their creativity. They're never acknowledged. Um, so you just have to be in it for the purpose, and not because you want to grow and you want a certain amount of money. Your why is what's most important. And so those are the two things that I've really learned, and I am still learning that second one, especially every single day.
Yeah, I gotta say that. I think in our last episode of Artist Spotlight with MCT Visions, if you haven't seen that, be sure to go ahead and tune in there. But we talked about that where it was like the passion, the vision you have for your own thing, it gotta sustain you through and through. And you really have to have a drive that no one around you is going to tell you to have, no one around you is going to encourage you to have, um, and no one's going to really you know, encourage you to overcome those obstacles. A lot of people will hear, things are happening or things are becoming challenging and will tell you more than likely, maybe you should just do something else. Maybe you should just, let that go. Maybe that's not for you. So I'm glad that you not only recognize those things on your journey, but you recognize I can overcome these things. And like you said, pivoting is something we have to
Mm-hmm.
get comfortable with because I'm one of the people who definitely don't like putting work into something and trying to make something shake and then realizing, well, maybe you didn't think this through all the way, or maybe you didn't think about
Right.
that, and now you have to shift your narrative. So, um, with that understanding, how do you find balance with all of this stuff, right? How do you stay abreast with all the designing, all the curation of the creative side of things while managing the profitability, while managing the scaling, while managing the marketing? How are you finding the balance for all of that?
Finding my balance is like something I'm not really that great at. I will say that. One of the main things that I'm learning is really just putting my faith in not my strength, but in God's strength. And you know, I'm a true believer, always have been. I put my faith in God for every single thing. But when it comes to my business, I feel like I can do everything. And that's just not true. I'm bad at a lot of stuff. I'm bad at a lot of stuff, but like tuning in and making sure that I am constantly in prayer. Like I try not to miss a day, but I do. I try not to miss a week that I do when it comes to prayer. But making sure that I touch back with where my strength comes from, I think that that's number one. Cause I go based off of patterns. I'm a project manager. I look at the data. I see what is real and what's not. I'm one of the people that are like, it's either black or white. I think like knowing myself and knowing how once I'm not connected, to the source, like I get overwhelmed. I get depressed. I feel like I can't do it because I'm trying to do it on my own. And so after seeing that pattern, I'm like, okay, so what has helped me? And there is actual scientific study that says that prayer, meditating, and things like that really does help you to be able to really just release a lot of the anxiety and stress that you have going on. So that's the first thing. When it comes to balancing both, I think you have to, as a creative, sometimes you are in a silo where you're like, I'm just creating and like nothing else matters. Like my website needs to be updated, but it hasn't been updated. I
Oh,
need to look
man,
at the numbers,
man,
but I need to
I
look
do
at the,
too.
you know what I'm saying? Like you just work in silos, and I think that that's okay, especially when you're by yourself. Like you're the only person. This is a one person business, and then to
Mhm.
have multiple things going on, a full time business. Sometimes you need to work in silos, and sometimes you need to take a break. Um, so I'll be creative for 3 weeks, and then I'll decide with my ADHD brain that I just want to be technical and work on the operational side. And that's just the way that I flow, and I have to be
Yeah.
okay with that and not get angry with myself because I'm not everything all at one time.
First of all, let's cut that up. Let's get that out the gate because I think what you just you that mindset of having to be everything everywhere all at once. No pun intended for the movie. Great movie. Go watch that. But having to be that or thinking you got to be there all the time is so unrealistic. It's so it's so crazy. But for some reason, we put that pressure on ourselves, and I think people do that because they have a high not only standard for themselves, but they also know what it is that they're trying to get out. They know what it is that they see so clear that they want to make other people understand or build a community around, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I really resonate with taking a second to compartmentalize what it is you're doing.
Right.
Um, because I ain't gonna lie, with me, it was definitely a thing where like building up Kingdom in that sense. I would focus on the music for a second. Like, okay, come writing music is something I'm recording, it mixed and mastered. Okay, cool. Then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do nothing else. Okay, now I'm ready to go ahead and start getting planning going for the podcast. Cool. Now I'm done. Okay, you know what? Now I really want to go and focus on the fashion side of things. So it was like I felt like I was just scattered everywhere. When in reality, I recognize through just taking a second to reflect, every single thing I was trying to get done was coming to reality. So it takes a little bit of time, especially when it's just you. It takes a little bit of time, but keep at it, and that persistence is really what's gonna carry people forward.
You're growing in the process. That's one thing that
Yeah,
really hard for me to get in the moment, but it takes time to see that. But like you are growing in the moment. That's number one. You have grown, even though you probably are scattered and you're doing a million things at different times, and you haven't went back to focus on what you focused on 3 months ago. But you're still growing, and your business is growing, and you're only one person. And until you hire people, I really feel like that may be like one of the reasons why people say your business really grows when you hire other people,
mm-hmm.
because you don't have to keep switching, like context switching into different departments, and everything is moving kind of at the same pace. And so that's where you see like the most exponential growth, but you're still growing, and it may be slower than what you expect, but it's still growth.
And you mentioned that hiring other people. I know you've had, interns in the past and stuff. You worked with creative directors, y'all. Fun fact: the first time I went to New York, and in that first time of going to New York, we had Fashion Week. It was because of Kaylin and her wonderful creative director Ryan, who y'all need to go tap in with as well. Um, how has your experience been, kind of being in that space of, not only hiring people, but kind of realizing you doing something like you really are in spaces that you may not have thought about being in prior. So how has that journey for you been?
Um, Not steady growth, but still I've learned from those. So my process was okay. I have a manufacturer. Did I enjoy having a manufacturer? Not really. Is it working? Kind of, but maybe I can do something where it works faster and it costs less. And so like it was a learning journey for me versus like I feel like sometimes I want to grow real fast, but then sometimes I really just want to learn every single area and I want to try things out, and so I just do it because I can. And so that was a journey. So I worked with a manufacturer. I got that experience. It was cool. I decided to see if I was like, okay, what if I am the manufacturer? So I was like, okay, let me try and start manufacturing in house. And so I got a space. I hired some interns, and I feel like things were happening quickly, but I learned that people, more people doesn't mean that you're just gonna grow. There's more to it than that. To have a warehouse, you need to have more machinery. More machinery,
Yeah.
more people. And that's really how you make things happen quickly. And so I was kind of tracking how quickly it was taken to complete like one blazer, for example. And I was like, okay, it took 2 days, which was like 6 hours in total to complete one blazer. Okay, so it feels like I need more sewing machines. And so it was kind of just like a journey of learning. And then outsourcing too, if I wanted to do that. So I kind of played around with that a little bit. And I honestly think that based off of just mentorship and everything, that I may go back to having a manufacturer. But the process has been great. Just to answer your question, I feel like that I'm learning a lot. End goal, I want to do everything in house. Is it feasible today? Probably not. Um, but it will be at some point, and I have the foundational skills from that. Also, just working with other people, being able to teach other people things, and then them teaching me things. Like I grew a lot in that process. But I'm in the middle of a pivot right now, figuring out, okay, if we're doing manufacturing, then it has to be in the U.S. We all know why. I do have a U.S. manufacturer, but are they the best people for me? And just finding the best manufacturer. So it's been a good process, a learning journey, I'll say.
You just touched on it a little bit. I was hoping going to our next question. Our resources, right? Now you know Royal Voices. We got a little segment for politics, and I always say y'all, we is not no news outlet, so we gonna give y'all the top politic things that I feel I should be aware of, and encourage y'all to do y'all Googles and research, because believe I'm lying. Just don't believe me. Go ahead and research on your own and form your own opinions and things like that. But within this space, especially with like tariffs and stuff going on, um, how are you navigating kind of that, and not just you in this immediate moment, but throughout your journey overall? How have you been able to navigate the struggle many creators, especially in the fashion space, struggle with as far as getting resources to just create their fashion ideas or sustain their businesses? How have you navigated those challenges?
Getting resources is really like a people thing. It's like you have to people. You got to get to know people. You have to ask questions. You got to reach out and go down a rabbit hole to get really nowhere sometimes, but sometimes you may find a valuable resource. You have to try out. Like there are so many designers that have had bad manufacturers. Um, there are a lot of designers who have gotten money stolen from them through manufacturing. Like you really just have to go through that process. Um, I think that I found a good resource. I feel like I found good resources, but they may not be the best. And like you just have to put yourself out there and start asking the right questions, trying to meet people. One of the things that I like to do is like join clubs or communities and things like that. So there's like retail communities out there. And so I joined that at one point, and that opened up a lot of doors for me. I ended
Yeah.
up having a mentor that was like this. She was like the COO for a pretty big like jewelry company. I'll just say that. And she gave me a lot of advice and a lot of feedback, but also she has connections and resources as well. And so you're peopling, you're getting to know people, you're asking people to be your mentors, you're joining clubs and getting out there. I went to a conference, and it was like an entrepreneurship conference, and I met so many business owners. But they're not just business owners that are there. There are resources that see that as an opportunity for them to make connections with you. So there may be, you know, people who want to build your website or just want to lend a hand, you know. Like there are so many people that are there that you can learn from. So I definitely think that me navigating it is like reaching out to people and getting to know people. And it's not my best trait. I will say that. I have never been the type of person that's just been like a people person. I love people, but I have to like get out of my shell to really just, you know, like connect with a group of people and things like that.
That piece about the networking, because a lot of that is simply just building a sustainable, reliable, well connected network. I think one of the biggest things I learned when we, again, our Paris, LOL, our New York fashion trip was, y'all, we was there for work. Okay, so mind you, we and Kaylin used to work together, and everything she just said, I already felt she had already. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we do it in the work capacity. So as far as building connections and networking, no problem. I kid y'all not. We can do that in our sleep. But I remember we were at an event and it was on a rooftop. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember looking over the city and I was like, we in New York on a rooftop during Fashion Week. And at this point, you could kind of, well, specifically Ryan, again, shout out Ryan Scheimer, great individual. Um,
Yes.
he kind of had this energy, like he already been in the mix. He used to this, he do this, but you could tell, just me and Kaylin, and just looking back on this, you could tell me and Kaylin was like a little bit out of our element, or a little bit just like shocked. It wasn't even out of our element. It was just something we were trying to get acclimated to, comfortable to do, but like had to
So
get
hard.
consistent with. And he came up to us and he was like, "What is it that y'all do?" Who are you? And we were like, well, Kaylin told us some, oh, well, I'm Kaylin. I own it. No, 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 no. You are Kaylin. You are a fashion designer. You are doing it. And
Yes.
I think having that understanding really made us navigate that event a lot more better, especially that rest of that trip. We started getting more confident. And y'all seeing this lady work behind the scenes, she's truly passionate about her work. Like she's truly committed to it. And I remember taking the pictures we had with the Polaroid and all of that, like on the subway or in the hotel. That diligence really is pushed by people around you, that network in the company that you keep, to kind of support that up as well.
That trip was another example of just resources. So Ryan, I can't even tell you how we met. No, no. I hired him as a creative director for a photo shoot. And it was like the first big photo shoot that I was doing, I think. It was like, okay, I lied. There was like a photo shoot I did, but I kind of scrapped it. And then like this was the one because I was like, I had to go to Houston. I'm like, this is the one to get the quality that I want. And that's where I met him. And we stayed connected since then. All the way to New York Fashion Week. And we're there for work. I'm like, bro, this is New York Fashion Week. You know that we're gonna be there for New York Fashion Week, right? And I was telling you that. And I was like, okay, so Ryan is gonna be there. And it just was the whole thing. Cause I had hung out with Ryan a little bit before that. I think we went to a fashion show before or after that. Either way, that whole experience was based off of resources. Now, towards the end of our trip, we went to a fashion show, and there's a lady who put on the fashion show. When we were in there, and we were in Wolf and Badger. Remember when we went up to the desk and we talked about we talked to the lady that was at the desk, and basically she was like, I just love the blazer. She was like, you should definitely like apply to sell in our store. From Ryan to being there to meeting that lady that was the fashion designer who had her fashion show, all the way to me actually months later getting my stuff inside of their store is insane. And you never even realize.
Clap that up.
That's my point. You never realize how important it is to have relationships with people until like you hear stories like that. That was amazing to me. And then the lady, it didn't even stop there. The lady that put on the fashion show put in a good word for me for a LA online magazine, or I think that's what they're referred to as, online magazines. and I did an interview with them. And I didn't even know this lady. We just met through Ryan. Like there were so many things that happened that spiraled just from me having that connection with him. And
Hmm.
so yes, it's peopling. It's really just getting to know people for who they are and loving them for who they are. And then like not only them just opening doors for you, right? It doesn't stop there, but you also
Yeah.
doing the same for them. Um, and becoming a trusted resource yourself. So
Yeah, that's something I always say in my day role as a program manager, intern program manager. I always talk about, you know, meaningful or intentional, specifically intentional networking, where it's like you're not just building connections because you think somebody can provide something for you, can open a door for just you, but you have resources, connections, insight, possibly opportunities that you could provide to another person as well. So it's going to always be a mutual thing, and I think people struggle usually trying to maintain that relationship. But I want to make sure I say it's not a thing about talking to people every single day, or sometimes not even every single month, but knowing, you remain connected. And in the world of social media, it don't take too much to stay connected. Follow somebody, go ahead and DM like, hey, this was crazy, or be in the comments,
mhm.
oh, this looks great. That is still that engagement, because again, that fashion show with Badger, y'all, I'm not gonna hold y'all, Ryan and them had me step in my fashion bag during this trip.
Hey, you
Now,
look good.
I like, no, no, don't get me wrong. I love me some clothes, and I'll put some stuff on. But New York just felt like I had to do something else. But y'all, I had these these,
The
these
platform.
boots.
Yes.
Oh my, never again. The
But you look
outfit was
good.
fire.
It was.
The fit was fire, but them he never again. But I'm saying that to say, I recognized during that time, kind of being around the models and around other designers and stuff, and seeing people work, that originality, um, that's a challenge for real. And I think creatives really deserve their flowers and deserve their recognition when they are doing something that nobody has done before. They're doing something that you haven't seen approached in that way. So for you, Kaylin, how can, originality um be a challenge in this fashion space, especially with so many options and so many ways to go about things? How have you maintained authentically you, and or maintained your authenticity with being you, but also creating original concepts and original things for your business endeavors?
Yeah, authenticity is hard to find nowadays, especially with AI, ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you name it. Oh Lord, it's social media in general. It's just
Yeah.
it kills authenticity, and that's one of the things that has helped me. And I really do believe that it's a revelation that I had in stepping away from social media. It's more than just isolating yourself. It's remembering who you are, not watching what other people are doing constantly. That's something that we get in the habit of doing, and we see what so and so had on, we see what trends are out, and what's trending does not stay around long anymore. Let's just point that out. Trends don't stay around long at all anymore. Um, so just stepping away from social media is something that helps me. I deleted my social media at one point, except for my business pages, and I was just strictly business. And then I got my page back, and I was like, okay, who I follow and what I put in to, you know, what I feed myself is going to be things that feed me mentally and not things that will make me be envious or
Mm.
jealous or start having comparison and things like that, because comparison is really what kills authenticity. But as a creative, it's really just that isolation and spending time from seeing what other people are doing. Like that's huge for me. If I really want to be creative, it's going to take time. And you hear a lot of people, especially like in the past, before technology was as huge as it is now, kind of say um, where they get their inspiration from, and a lot of times it's the environment. A lot of times it's nature, architecture, and things like that. And spending time in those spaces, like that means so much more than going on Pinterest and finding
Mhm.
inspiration. You get what I'm saying? Like, actually
Yeah.
have to be present in the moment. You actually have to connect with nature. You actually have to understand that there's more underlying than what we just see.
Mhm.
And that's where creativity comes from. Not from scrolling on Pinterest and looking at
Yeah.
ideas and all these cute colors and cute shoes. Because in a sense, you're just getting other people's ideas and putting it together.
Mm.
Like, where does creation
Yeah.
come from? Let's go there. Where does
Yeah.
creation come from? We know where it comes from. Where's the best place that we can find creativity? Where creation came from. And to me, that's God. And that's what He created, nature,
Mhm.
the things that are around us. And so that's how I make sure that I try and tap in and I don't get lost in scrolling.
You definitely hitting it on the head. When you as you were speaking, it was a song. It's a artist we all know at this point now, Dochi. Um, and this is before she started getting as big as she is, which I'm so proud of because it's the journey from just watching the YouTube to now. It's crazy. But she has a song called God. It's not a song. It's more like a poem, I guess. Where she's kind of speaking to herself about how she was so fearful of being a musician, how she was so fearful of being a one hit wonder and limiting her belief system. And it wasn't necessarily doubting herself, it wasn't doubting what she was capable of, but it was more so doubting her source. And people, a lot of creators will tell you kind of live life because life is your biggest teacher. That's gonna be a lot of where you're gonna pull inspiration from is just experiences of life. But she says further in that track about God being an infinite source of ideas, an infinite source of lyrics, of infinite source of wealth, an infinite source of all the things that you need in order to sustain and or do the things you're trying to do. Comparing yourself to other people can create a barrier between authenticity as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I recognize with that social media space, when you are pulling your sources from social media or pulling your sources from Pinterest and stuff like that, that's all you are limited to. And I think people find challenges in that. And one of the topics for Royal Voices is spite. How people operate in that spiteful energy at times. And spitefulness doesn't, we always get, I think, carried away in the anger of people doing things maliciously towards us with no rhyme or reason. But when you look deeper beyond that, there is reason. It's just lying and insecurity. So let me ask your thoughts on that. Because again, you in fashion, so I'm pretty sure you done had your squabble or two with a model maybe, or a another brand or somebody who had similar designs, something like that, where you may have operated in this space, or somebody may have operated in space against you in a spiteful way. So what is your take on the spitefulness people may have within this creative space, or that underlying competition people may have within the creative
Yeah.
environment?
Oh, it's always competition, always, and there's no way that we can avoid it. And a lot of times we're in competition with other people and don't even realize it, like, or don't want to believe it.
Yeah,
Like, we just
yeah.
be honest with ourselves. But I think that a lot of people do operate out of that, and the fall is heavy. Like, it's gonna hurt if you continue to operate there. You're just hurting yourself. That's my response to it. While at the same time, I find myself, I can be very aware of me. Like, let me just say that, and I'm not afraid to say where I fall short. If that makes sense, because we all do, and we all can relate on that level. But there are moments where I'm like being spiteful and I don't realize it.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of people live in delusion, mainly because mainly because they don't have anybody to answer to. They don't have anything to answer to. They don't have people around them that are going to be honest with them. When I'm operating there, I think it's more so of me coming to the realization and doing something about it versus just choosing to be spiteful. And because of the society that we live in, like, it's so accepted to be hateful, it's so accepted to be mean girl, and I choose not to operate there. I mean,
Mm,
I think it just takes a choice. Really, people, if there is someone that is operating there and doesn't realize it, you are digging a big hole for yourself. And success may come, but it's going to end quickly. Um, we see it in the news all the time when people are going up and then they crash.
mm,
Like, things happen. So it's always good to just try to be the best version of yourself. And that's all I'm saying. Like, me growing, we all are spiteful. We all are mean. We all be hating sometimes. But it's
mm.
coming to the realization that you are and changing the way that you are to be better and not just living there just because like it's accepted now.
You know what? Cause you is on the money. I said that in the podcast too about just fully recognizing you as a person. There's a thing called shadow work, right? And people think that's demons and stuff. No, shadow work is addressing the things about you you don't like, the things about you that we've been told make us bad people, but we all experience. So, like she said, that spiteful, that anger, I recognize growing up, especially getting into creative endeavors, you're going to always find somebody or find a individual that's in the space that you aim to be in, or somebody that's doing something that make it look so easy, and you sitting here struggling like, okay, I'm trying to get this done. Why? And get, and that can easily turn into jealousy. That can easily turn into envy. That can turn into spitefulness. But like she said, recognizing those things and doing the work to work against those things. So when I start peeping, like, okay, this person doing this, and I even feel a slight, mm, I have to figure out, okay, well, what's bothering you? Well,
Right.
they doing something that I want to do. Okay, so put your pride aside, because my word of the week was pride.
Yes.
Just being truthful. My word of the
Pride.
week was pride. Put your pride aside and tap that individual on the shoulder and say, hey, I see you doing this. How did you make that happen? Instead of saying, "Oh, I don't like what you're doing. It's stupid and it's not going good. It's gonna fail." Well, it's not. You don't even believe that. You're telling yourself that because you feel insecure. So
Exactly.
that is something that you got to grow into, and something that people again it all goes back to just self-reflecting and holding you accountable as a person.
Yes, and like I tell my husband, like, uh, don't expect that person to respond back to you because they don't
Mm,
have to. And just being just a kind person, period. Like, understand that they're going through things, you're going through things. They may not be the best version of themselves. You may not be the best version of yourselves. Like, that
mm,
awareness is so important. We all have egos, and a lot of times my
yeah.
ego is so big. Like, my ego is so big sometimes, but it's
Yes.
really just insecurity. That's the root of it. You said it. Like, it's me being insecure about something that I am unhappy about. So I need to figure out what that is, and we need to get to the root, and we
Right.
need to cut it because this cannot continue to go on. Like, you want to be the
Yeah.
best. Like, whenever we get to wherever satisfaction is for us,
Mhm.
the top, wherever the top is for us, whenever we get there, I don't know about you, but I want to be the best version of myself.
That
I don't want
part.
to get there and be another. I didn't want to say his name on the podcast. Did okay? I
Talk
don't want
about
to
it. Trial
get.
going on today.
I don't want to get up there and be another Diddy because I didn't
Mhm.
fix all these problems that I had. Like, I'm gonna wipe the stain off of my shirt before someone else has to point it out. Point blank. Period.
And that's the part because I think a lot of people, especially young folks, and that's like, and I have to say this because I think people and I'm categorizing young folks as people less than under the age of 30. And I'm saying the young folks because I think people today are moving a lot faster than our predecessors. And people are, more connected than ever. We have to get comfortable recognizing these things early because if you get older and you 40, 50, 60, and you got this badass attitude, you don't know what. After a point, you're gonna be so angry with the things around you, you're not even gonna be able to figure out what the problem was to begin with. So address it head on and take
Now,
feedback. Take feedback.
yes,
Everybody's not hating on you. Let me just say that.
exactly. Oh my God. That is one of the things that agitate me the most is when I see people who are just stuck in their ways.
Mm.
Ain't nothing you can do about it now. There's nothing you can do about it. You just gotta accept them for who they are, ugly or not. Like you just like it is what it is at this point. There's no
Yo.
changing them. And I never want to be that. Never want
And
to be that.
and that's the part we want to hold. If you cannot hold yourself accountable,
Hmm.
you gonna have a very, very, very hard life. And everything around you is like Kaylin said, is gonna ultimately fail. Like I said on the podcast, when you doing that clownery, the joke will always be you. Every time. Every single time, the clown will be you. Because especially if you can't recognize it. Picture being the clown that don't even know you wearing a red nose. That's the part that I really hope Kingdom is providing visibility for, is like we all have a journey, and I say all the time, people only show the success, they show the end result, they show the money, the stats, the deals, the sponsorship, they show all of that peacefully, but nobody wants to show the challenges they have to grow from. And I just
Right.
love the conversation we having right now because it's showing the
Hmm.
human side of these things. Something that you said about social media, how you kind of took a detox, took a second back, but then jump back in, but then you kind of dibble and dabble with social media when you're feeling like it. And I've just noticed your content specifically because again, I'm trying to get in my little social media bag. I've lost a lot of interest in social media, but I also understand it's popular, it's important, and it's essential in kind of building that community. So it's a double-edged sword. But for you, I noticed there was a lot of spiritual or motivational content kind of coming across my FYP from you. So I was really interested in kind of what inspired this kind of content.
Six, I don't even know, 6 months ago, 8 to 10 months ago, really, if you would have talked to me, the number one thing that I would be craving is impact and like feeling like I'm not making any. And honestly, if we have a scale, I was not. I don't feel like I was making an impact at all in my 9 to 5, in my businesses, just period. And so I went back to the drawing board. I did a lot of self work and I kind of mapped out my life, what I aspire my life to look like in 10 years. And in asking, so 5, 10 years, and I did both. So in asking that question, I started just like visualizing it. I grabbed it out.
Mm.
I literally mapped it out. I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want. This is what good looks like to me. And a lot of it stemmed in really just empowerment and community. And so I said, okay, so there's more of a why underneath. What is that why? And I discovered that. And
Mm.
so once I figured out what my why is, and truthfully, it changes depending on where I am, and what I've personally gone through. But what I think my why is to just be authentic in sharing that the journey is not easy and life is not easy. It's literally biblical. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. And sharing what that journey is so that I'm relatable. And so my content has somewhat taken a turn because it's my personal content.
Mm.
Um, because depending on where I am, I want to speak to an audience that needs that motivation and needs to understand that where I am today is tough and I'm actually going through things. And so I just want to motivate people. Like, one of the things that I did, which completely changed me in the past year, was that I gained weight. I was 98 pounds. I'm 120 pounds now, give or take. And that was a journey for me because I grew up like, if you're someone or just anybody that has any type of weight issues on any side of the spectrum, you get talked about. Like, you're disliked. There are so many things that people have said to me that really broke me. Like, I remember things from middle school and high school that people said to me about my size, about me being so skinny, so little. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something about it finally, the healthy way. And so, me sharing my fitness journey and sharing motivation behind it is speaking to that person that's dealing with the same things. Like, you can do something about it. You can change who you are and feel confident about, you know, the your skin, your body, you know? And I finally have reached a point where I'm like happy about it. And I want other people to feel that same way and to get to that point in their lives where they can look in the mirror and say, "Oh my God, I love my body." And so I've been just sharing that because that's where I am in my life.
Yeah.
And it may be the same thing. Like when I'm really deep in business stuff, we'll just say
Mhm.
that. When I'm really deep there, like I'll share a lot of motivational content there because this is where I am, and I want you to be motivated to know that you can do it too, and that this process is not easy. So I think that's where it comes from. But it's also a learning journey as well. Like
Mhm.
when it comes to getting the content right, when it comes to speaking to the right audience, when it comes to just the technical side, making sure the quality is there, and just everything. Make sure I'm posting on the right platforms. I want to continue to learn, so I try to stay consistent, whether
Yeah.
it's up and down. Still staying consistent in that content as well.
I will say, I think, because you said another word that I'm on for this season, is consistency. Um, because I'm notorious child for starting some stuff, especially like outside of work. I'm notorious for starting some stuff, letting it ride for a little bit, and then I'm cool on it. Just because, like you said, I'm not in that space anymore, or being a content creator or in that space all the time. You may be sitting with something that you created for so long. I'm on to the next thing already by the time it's coming out to the audience. So you may just, I may put out an EP. Boom, you got 4 songs. I may have had them 4 songs for the last 3 years. And I'm like, okay, the songs are out. And on top of that, having the market and all that kind of stuff, I've lost interest. Or social media. Social media change almost every day. From, like you mentioned, the trends that stay trendy for about 5 minutes. It's so popcorn. Um, on
It's
top
just
of
I
that,
love it.
you got to make sure you in the mix. You got to make sure you're seeing. You got to make sure your algorithm is right. You got to make sure you're posting at the right
Right.
times. It is so much to do. So I'm really glad. Well, one, let's clap it up for all the progress that you've been making and all the things you're doing. I'm so proud of you. And you just sound so centered, like in self. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, you always have things to work on, things to grow, things you want to enhance. But I'm just so happy that you are so secure in you and your family doing good. Hey to the husband, hey to the dogs. You know what I'm saying? I'm just so happy that you are in this space and you wearing it so proudly. I love it. Within that, I do want to ask about your interests now that you are in the place that you're in now, with everything in the world going on and everything happening around us. How are you feeling about your brand? How are you feeling about your business? And kind of what are some things you're planning to do um, come down the line of 2025?
To answer this question, I'd have to know all the answers, but I don't. Um, I first of all, I'm glad that I'm coming across like I am very centered. I'll say that. Am I always? No. Like some days is not the same as like how I am in this moment. So I don't want to present myself that I'm imperfect. That I am perfect. Yes, because I am imperfect in so many ways, and I'm also the type of person that looks for a reason in everything. So I'm like, some days I'm spiraling and trying to find an answer to why this is happening. And some days I'm chill and I'm like, okay, like I understand the big picture. I may not need to see it all, but I understand that someone knows the big picture and that's God, and I trust that. But for where I am with my brand, ooh, that is a hard one. Mainly because um I just went through a huge transition
Mhm.
with my career, and I didn't ask to be here. I did not ask to, like, you remember when I was like, I'm gonna put in my application on January 1. You remember when I said that, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, thinking about it, I really felt God like tell me just chill. What are you doing? And then an opportunity came across my lap months later, and I applied and I got the role. And then I found out literally the next business day that I if I had not put in my 2 weeks, then I would have been laid off. Um, so right, right, because I ain't see it coming either. But I truly feel like God saw it coming and He positioned me, and I don't know why. And I I know that there's a purpose in what I'm doing now. So I have really leaned into that while at the same time figuring out what is the shift that needs to happen with my business. We all know SK has had some hiccups mainly because of everything that is happening right now. We'll just say that. With politics and Kroir, I'm pivoting and I want to find the purpose for the brand, and I want to understand exactly where I want to take the brand in the next year or so. And so it's taking time for me to figure that out, long story short. But I'm still designing, I'm still planning, I'm still reading and learning to figure out where this pivot is going to take me. I hope that answered a little bit. I
Yeah.
hope I
I
didn't give
mean,
you like a non-answer answer.
no, that definitely does answer. And I think again that transparency, 'cause I think people think we just got stuff figured out. It's the thing called the fishbowl effect, right? Where you be in positions and you don't even know people are watching you or are focused on you or are oop the sun is shining. Okay, come on, son. I saw my light changer. But you don't even know that. And that glass bowl effect really will have you thinking one way or people who perceiving you one way. I don't
Hmm.
I cannot count at this point how many times people have come up to me and said, Josh, I see you doing a thing. Oh, you big bank now. And I'm like, what's big bank now? Well, I'm seeing Kingdom. I see his trademark. I see the fashion line. I see the I'm like, right. we get we get stuff moving. We're growing. We're learning. But I cannot take that perception from them. If people have these beliefs behind what we're doing, that's great. But I like having these environments to show the reality. It's challenging. It's not easy. It does not happen overnight. You don't always have a ton of help. You don't have any help sometimes. And
Hmm.
it really just be on your shoulders. So really want to commend again all the things that you're planning and the comfortability you have in the pivot because so many people have a struggle to even want to acknowledge that they may need to pivot. So much so, like you said before, that their businesses will fail or that their creative endeavors will fail simply because they're not
Hmm.
willing to align with what makes sense versus what they believe it to be or what they want it to be. The data behind it all as well when you're doing your research and doing your analyticals is definitely helpful too. So I would encourage everybody who's tuned in to get friendly with Google. Go ahead and purchase your membership for ChatGPT so you can
Okay,
have
$20.
okay. I'm gonna put on some little games because these things are helpful in again maintaining you as not only a business but as a creative in the space that you're in now, the journey you've had this far, there's other people who you may know, may not even know, watching your journey, watching what you're doing, and are truly inspired by what it is you are doing. So, for those in the world and people tuned in today on Royal Voices podcast as well as Artist Spotlight, is there any advice that you would give to creators overall, or even to the fashion designers or those individuals trying to get into creating those fashion lines that they may need right now?
Um, Learn as much as you can, meaning read books, gain mentors, watch the journeys of other designers or people in your industry. Really, that's what's most important. Like, especially if you're in your 20s, like, we are. Um, your 20s is a time to learn and do everything. And you made a comment about, like, you start and then you stop. And I think we just have to understand that the journey of learning, like, it is much lengthier than we expect it to be. It doesn't happen overnight. So just learn as much as you can, soak in as much as you can. And when you're in your 30s or 40s, you can really put years of experience behind that. And then for people that want to start a fashion brand, definitely do it. But again, read. There's a book that I am currently in the midst of reading. We'll say in the midst of reading because I'll be on it and then I'll stop. It's called Fashion Brand Management, and it is the most honest book I've ever read about fashion. And I went to school for fashion. Read that book if you're into fashion. Um, Answer all the questions. Do the case studies. Do your research. Fashion Brand Management is a really good book, but there are so many other books. I mean, I could go on for days. There are so many other books that you can read that you can just learn from other people's experiences. And good luck, because it is a long journey. And everybody always says, like, the journey is the, yes, the journey, it is everything. Because once you get to where you want to be, you're going to have more problems, you're going to have more responsibilities. And right now is the time. What are you waiting on? Just do it. Just go for it and live in the moment. And it does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to happen overnight. But you're going to be okay.
Okay, and you're gonna be fine. It's already done.
It's already done.
It's already handled.
I
Okay,
don't want to
it's
be 50
already.
today. I don't want to be 50 today. But I know that when I do get to 50, all the
Mhm.
20s and 30s and 40s was so worth it. So I'm not rushing. Don't rush.
Yeah, I will say that journey is so. Again, we keep bringing up the journey. We sound like Tisha Campbell. It's the journey. But
It's
the
the
journey,
journey.
it not only shows you how to enjoy success because you're gonna fail, but it also teaches you how to not necessarily fail, but take lessons. That's why I say
Yeah.
I don't never take a L because I'm always learning something. That up and down that we experience is meant for a reason. So when you get to where you, for some reason, because we'll have a vision in our head or a goal in our head, we'll get there and not think beyond that goal. So you get to that goal, and then another goal pop up. But
Right.
now the next goal that you need, or the next goal that you're trying to achieve, everything you learned achieving that first goal is now prominent and present and needed for that second
Exactly.
goal.
You're so right. In that time where we were down, like, we may have needed that rest. It doesn't mean that we weren't still going forward. It just was that we weren't going at the pace that we expected in that moment. So if you are at a low moment and a lot of stuff is not happening and it's not lively and you ain't at New York Fashion Week this year, it's okay. You may need that rest because wherever it is you're going next, you're gonna be tired.
Tired. You're not gonna get no sleep.
Tired.
Because I kid y'all not, that trip we was high. I just think if people continue to stay the course, stay focused, stay driven, and again, like I've been saying, fuck all that haters get money.
Right.
It's gonna be people who go against the thing that you're doing. But I firmly believe if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. And ain't nothing a man, child, woman can do on this planet to block what God got for you. So go
Exactly.
for it and see it through. Now, Kaylin, it's been great having you here today. We have one more question.
Oh, I'm ready. Okay.
Where can people keep up with you? Where can people tap in and
Oh
get
no.
more of Kaylin Harris and Kroir and Shop Kroir?
Okay, so I think Instagram is just really where I'm at. I be trying to post on TikTok because everybody's on TikTok, so I'll be on TikTok. But my personal page, if you just want to follow me personally, is I am Kaylin Harris. And then, of course, Kroir is Kroir Official. That's my luxury brand. And then Shop Kroir on Instagram is SK. So all of those platforms. And then, of course, TikTok, which I believe is I am Kaylin Harris as well.
Tap in, get y'all some products because y'all she be going crazy. And again, I just think I'm to encourage y'all get in early because in the next 10, 15, maybe a year, it may be hard to get on her agenda. It may be hard to get on her docket.
And the same for you. What are you talking about? I'm happy to be
Oh
here because
yeah.
I had a conversation with you. No, let's
No,
be
for real.
real.
No, listen, I told them I started putting stuff up around the set of stuff because we're gonna be here for a little bit. So
Uh-huh.
we just getting started.
I love
But
it.
with all that said, I thank you, Kaylin, for being on to today's artist spotlight. Yes, yes. And again, we gonna stay tucked in with everything that you're doing. Thank y'all for tuning in to today's episode of Artist Spotlight, and we'll be right back to Royal Voices.